Hello everyone, and welcome to this series of Onshape tutorials. In this series, I will be showing you ways to use Onshape and giving you rundowns on different tools in Onshape to help you with your 3D modeling journey. This series will be primarily focused on using Onshape in means of a FRC team, so there will be many tools on here that will not be showcased as they will not be used for a FRC team. If you're wanting to learn how to use those tools, I would recommend just messing around and figuring out how to do it yourself. Other than that, I will be giving you many different tutorials throughout this series on how to use many different tools in Onshape. Hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to part 3 in this series of teaching Onshape. Now you might be wondering why I'm starting back on the Sketch Basics tab, and that's because today's episode is going to be based around just some random little features that you can do with blocks like this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this by right clicking on it and then hitting the little duplicate button. And now I'm going to click on it, I'm going to drag it over here so everything stays in order. And we're just going to call this random tools because that's what today's going to be about. And so first thing is we're going to learn how to rename stuff, which is the same way we've been doing it before. You just kind of come over here and then you just start to rename. I'm just going to call it random, makes my life easy. You can also click on these little eye icons to hide things, like hiding your entire piece, or just showing your sketch again so you can see the sketches. And then you can also hide all your planes if you don't like to see your planes. But let's get into the meaty part of this episode. So first thing we're going to learn how to do is the shell tool right here. Might not use it very often, but it's very useful. All it does is whatever face you click on, it hollows it out. And then you set the thickness of the piece here, which I'm just going to keep at 1/10 of an inch. And now, as you see, I have a hollowed out piece. Very simple, very easy to do. Helps if you're trying to make anything that needs to be hollow. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to use this little hole tool, which this one uses any sort of your mate points, so like some parts on your edges, to make little holes in places. If you click that button, then you can see it kind of shows up these points, and you'll have to click on one of these to tell it to make the hole there. And then you tell it how far you want it to go using this right here. Sorry, this is the diameter, not how far you want it to go. My bad. Well, this is where you tell it the diameter you want, so I'm just going to make this be a 1-inch hole. Why not? Let's go for it. And then here, you can tell it how far you want it to go. We're just going to keep it as a through roll. Makes life easier. And if I hit a little check, you can see now I have a hole all the way through my hollowed out box. But I'm going to show you another thing. Over here on this side, the order stuff here matters. Because if I drag this hole up to here and put it before the shell, now it's not shelling out this part. And I have to tell it to separately shell out that face as well. By clicking here and then telling it to shell there. And you see that works. But it's easier to just keep everything in order like this, and then it all works out fine. So keep that in mind as you do stuff, that the order of everything over here on the left does matter. Now we're going to do one last fun tool that you might use more often than the rest, and that is this one, the little fillet tool. It's just like the sketch fillet. You're just going to click an edge, and I have mine set really tiny right now, but if you change it, you can see it'll start to fillet the edge. Now this tells me I made it too big. This little purple line and the red tells me I made it too big and it's intersecting other things. So I have to change it now. We'll set it like 1/2 inch. Still too big. Set it to 1/10 of an inch. There we go. And as you see, it's smoothing out that edge. Very useful. Another thing we're going to do is hit this edge over here. Now it smooths out both of them. And has this little angled corner here, which you can tell it how you want to do it with this here. If I don't allow edge overflow, it'll change how it looks. But I like to do smooth filleted corners, but we'll worry about that another time. And so now if I just hit the little check mark, now we have a couple of smooth edges. And you can do that on these inside edges as well. You can do the exact same thing on the inside edges by just simply clicking. And now you have a smooth one on the inside. That'll be all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed.